any person can visit.
Actually, somebody was telling me that Uganda is a center of African integration, because there are countries, especially in Southern Africa, that if Mtuta maybe went with a Musime and lived in Southern Africa, as long as you're Ugandans, even the child you produce in the southern part of Africa will still have that tag of being a foreigner, and therefore even when they grow up and study that side, it becomes very hard for them to access some of the services, because they are not they are known to have parents who don't come from the same region, which is actually not here in Uganda, that somebody comes 2-3 years down the road, they are Ugandans.
Yeah, well, I've seen people to the level we have had people who came here as diplomats, as ambassadors, but after their tenure of office, their tour, like they call it, of duty, they opted to remain here.
And they are now Ugandans.
So Uganda is such a unique country that, like people used to talk about Mombasa, kuingia ni haraka lakini kutoka ni matanga. Entering it is easier, but getting out can be problematic. Not because you can't get out, but you feel
at home.
Yes, you feel so connected to a country. So that is part of the things that the product, the biggest product that Uganda has to sell are the people of Uganda themselves. Because there is a lot that, because you look, we have had, even within the region, when you move across some of our borders, within the East African community, they are saying, still people insist on identification, on even payment.
The payment entails.
Yeah, but Uganda, I think, has gone beyond that. We are now looking at the region as every person of coming from the region as a Ugandan, more or less. And it's a convergence of all these people who have come, maybe because we started with a lot of migrations into Uganda when we started as a community. Maybe that is why that has extended to even people today, that you can have a refugee who comes to Uganda and later 3-5 years is a Ugandan. It's even driving in Kampala. It's
owning land property.
Exactly.
Yeah, which is not actually in other.
Many
so let's look at our theme, celebrating our 59th Independence Day as we secure our future through national mindset change. Actually, the issue of national mindset change here is key, because I was thinking of you know, we have Buy Uganda, Build Uganda. I was thinking of maybe another kind of arrangement, Love Uganda, Promote Uganda. We, at the Dubai Expo, we came third, but when you look at what is happening on social media, Ugandans are even praising countries that actually were ranked badly as compared to we who came third.
Ugandans have a problem, definitely. Moving away from be Ugandan, buy Ugandan. Last evening I was being told that marry Ugandan. But I have also these problems of some of the Ugandans when they get out there. They seem to be shouting so much, but I can also understand. I was one time in Oslo, and we are at this meeting, then this one person stands up to say, we are the minorities in Uganda and we are being killed and all. So he talked a lot of things. So later on I went to him, said, but what's your problem? If you were in Uganda and many people were killed and you survived, how did you survive to escape that killing? But at the same time, who are you telling this, even if that were true?
Was true, yeah.
Who are you telling the things, and what are they going to help you say? But you know, Muganda want. This is how we survive, because this is the language these people want to hear. Because if you cannot justify your being there, then they will be deported. I said, but I think that is also the wrong thing of way of doing things, because you want to survive as a person, but you are tarnishing the name of the country. True that Uganda came third, but you know that is not a very small achievement of all people who are exhibiting.
Because sure, I was shocked that when you look at social media, is that the stories that are coming in, they are glorifying a country that was actually ranked around 10th, 15th, and demonizing their own country that came third.
Which performed so well. So I think the problem is that like we said, the mindset. I still can do all those things I want to do without necessarily having to
demonize my country.
The country. The Uganda is not the best, fine. But which country are you talking about? Which is better than Uganda? Because we have been talked and we have been reading and we've seen many of these other countries that they glorify as icons of democracy, icons of development, civilization. But you realize actually it's the contrary. Because maybe the bad thing that Ugandans do, or for us in Uganda do, we leave things flow naturally without necessarily pushing a lot of the PR agenda. That you make yourself look so good outside there, even when actually we know of countries, some of them in the neighborhood, where this is a very terrible place to live in. Even the citizens who live in those countries are so scared of their lives there. But on the outside, they make themselves look so nice. And I think Uganda is not doing that, and I don't think we need to do that.
No, I think there's a need to change our mind so that we can tell our Ugandan story. We can tell a story that the world needs to know about Uganda. Not every other time you are at a foreign airport and you're telling people you're going to Uganda and everybody's like, but Uganda, I mean, the picture they get of Uganda is of violence.
Exactly.
Yes, of something small, but it is actually exaggerated to show that actually Uganda is maybe a country where people may not come.
Unfortunately, that exaggeration is done by Ugandans themselves.
Definitely,
so
that's
it is likely to be even believed until someone gets to Uganda and they say, but this is not the Uganda.
And they get a different picture, a different picture of Uganda. Yes, dear viewer, anytime from now, we shall be taking you to Kololo Independence Grounds, where the 59th Independence Anniversary celebrations are taking place under President Yoweri Museveni. The Fountain of Honor and Commander-in-Chief is expected to be to preside over all the guests of honor at the celebrations. As usual, UBC Inspiring Uganda, we shall bring you live all the celebrations. Now let's get to, of course, at 59. We have quite a number of challenges as a country that perhaps we feel we should have done better.
Yes. We have, of course, like another family, like even in an ordinary life, a man, when you get to 59, there are many challenges that you face.
But because if you're a man at 59, you even have grandchildren at home. Yes.
So all those are challenges that you face. But I think what some of the biggest challenges that the country now faces, first of all, is at 59, the man at 59 with the grandchildren, you are now having a problem with the bigger population that you have in your home.
Expanded family. In other words, around 40 years back, no, around 30 years back, it was you and your wife.
Exactly.
But now you have your sons, daughters, and now the grandchildren.
Yes, and then you have the in-laws.
The in-laws, yes.
So Uganda is also having all these in-laws and all of these grandchildren and whatever. But the other important thing is that maybe we now need to make, because again, talking about the ordinary family setting, that for an ordinary African family, that this population could be put to use. Because if you are working with your grandchildren and children very well, then your production is going to be high. At one point, at every point, you'll have enough food to eat in that family. But if you have these grandchildren who are now the .com type, who are not participating in the production of
who spend more time on social media,
then that's why problem. So I think that also translates into the wider family of Uganda, that maybe as the population grows, and has grown remarkably, but the other factors that would have facilitated this population to be better than they are today have not been looked at or not have.
Yeah, because ideally a big population per se can be an advantage.
Exactly.
Because that it means that they can provide enough market for products. it also means that they can give the labor force is actually there. But now the question is, because now when you look at population growth, there's what we call the quantitative and the qualitative. In terms of quantity, yes, there is the numbers are there to be seen, but the quality, now that how much do they contribute to national growth and development, how much do they contribute to the national coffers, is actually now something that government should
looking at as we head for the next 1 year to 60. So that in the population vis-a-vis the production seem not to run in tandem, which means there is a deficit somewhere. And but this is not also something.
Can we say that there is a sector, or there are particular people who are sleeping on their job?
No,
who should be doing this?
The problem is historical. When you looking again, talking about our independence, the type of education that was given to the Africans as the colonialists were living, and the subsequent years, I think was not the type of education that we needed to grow our population and to grow a productive population. So I think that's where the disconnect starts. It has, of course, moved with us all these years, but maybe now the changes that are coming in education to focus on particular areas of interest could address some of these challenges in the future.
Now let's look at the attitude of young people towards work, because that is very, very important. That even if I'm a graduate and I don't have a job, it doesn't stop me from starting from somewhere, starting small and growing big.
Again, that is the factor that was the colonial factor.
Because actually that's what is in our theme, national mindset change. Yes.
We people who are supposed to go to school told that after school you are going to get a job, and you're going to do this.
And especially if you go to university, the job you're supposed to get, you're supposed to have good accommodation and a good car.
So people got stuck in that mindset, and indeed it were at the beginning, because we had people who were going to school. By the time they were getting out, we had factories, there were jobs that they could where they could work. But of course, the mismanagement that followed after independence, Uganda brought all that to a halt. But at the same time, you realize that most of the most important businesses, most of the biggest businesses of this world are not these businesses we're talking about, maybe government businesses, but the individual efforts, innovations that have brought these big businesses, including the Facebook and whatever we're talking about. So I think it is also a high time for young people to look at themselves as resources.
Yeah, there was a time when I think around 15 years ago, when President Museveni was launching one of the roads that had just been constructed, and was telling people that use the roads for business, to transport goods and services, not transporting rumors. And now I can look at social media. Instead of people using it for business, it's actually being used for rumor mongering.
Yeah, because sometimes you on the social media, then why am I here in the first place? So, but these are some of the things that we can. I've been telling people that in the area like IT is a virgin area for especially Africa, that there is a lot that can be done in this particular area for the benefit of the people, for the benefit of our governments, for the benefit of our communities, that we can innovate. And of course, this area doesn't have the limits.
The limits, that's true.
It is you who can be limited by your capacity, but
the same with agriculture.
Yes.
You can just be limited by your own capacity.
Exactly.
Yes.
No, Africa is the continent where opportunities are massive, but the people are just looking in one area, what government has done. Fine, governments are supposed to do their part. Provide the environment that you will be able to think the way you want to think and do things that you want to think, as long as you're not breaking the law. But governments are not going to be giving people money every other time that there is a crisis, or for every other family to have money. No, the environment has to be created.
Yeah, this is the second year we are actually having such a celebration with COVID-19 midst us, and of course now COVID becomes a serious challenge, and when it comes to national mindset change, because ideally we must change our minds and look at COVID as a challenge we are going to live with, and perhaps see how we are going to mitigate effects of challenge or effects of COVID-19, right from individual level, family, community, and then as a country.
The problem of the mindset, I think it goes beyond the normal scholarly reasonings, and also because of course I know Bwana Masiko is trying much as possible with the patriotism.
No, Masiko has long left that docket. He's now the NPC.
Yeah, exactly.
Of the army.
Yeah, because I worked with him, and he's one of the instructors that I really liked. But you realize that the other time there was a discussion in the cabinet, and people were saying we need the people of Uganda to have a positive mindset, to have a mindset that will be able to propel this country from. But the question was raised: are we here also in the right mindset? So sometimes this mindset is not only the youth today, it's not only the politicians today, it's not only a particular group today, but all Ugandans need to have a straight mindset and a
national mindset change. Yes, so of course, this one cuts across. The elderly.
Yes.
The youth.
And for me, I would prefer that we even go it further, to start from down, to bring it up, so that.
Now that is bottom up approach.
Yeah. We this mindset thing we are not. It's completely not foreign to us, but we're also learning from countries like Korea that. In a family, that mindset runs, that there are certain things you must do or you must not do as an individual. There are certain things you must or not do as in a community and as a government. You remember the other time when President Park, who is currently in prison actually, because she allowed her friends and those people close to her to do business like
they wanted
the African way, but she ended up in prison because of that mindset, because of the values that they attach to the operations of at every level. So I think Ugandans also, we need to learn some of the things. Having the national plan for it is the best thing, but when families, because at the end of it, those small units are the ones that.
You know, every other time people talk of legislation, policies, there's one man who says that Uganda is not falling short of good policies and laws to make us develop. But the question is, why have we accepted to become a paper tiger? But when you look at our documents, look at our policies, look at our laws,
people come to benchmark.
Yeah, they come to benchmark and actually perform better than us.
Exactly.
So where is the problem?
The problem is implementation. The commitment with which these policies are implemented. Sometimes we have them on paper, and that is all. But also the high turnover in administration is also a problem. Because today, if you are going to have a parliament that 70% lives, or in the local governments where you have 70% of the leaders are thrown out in every other election, then consistency in terms of administration, but also project implementation becomes a problem. And that's, I think, some of the problems.
Well, of course, there's talk of influence peddling. That also times affects the smooth operations or implementation of such a law. You know, recently I was told that syndrome is called the Gambanogo. Yes, that maybe Twitter, you're doing your job and somebody say, look here, talk to so-and-so.
Yes.
Order to find that the person you're talking to is your experience. That one is my boy.
Exactly. But at the same time, that talking of influence peddling, when it comes to independence. I'm also looking at the situation, and for the first time, I'm also agreeing with the Minister of Finance. You know, the last time I read that I'm mooting a position that the donor funds will need to be put in one basket for purposes of implementation of this government program
and accountability.
And for me, I found that interesting, because you have this place, like now we are going for parish model. In the same parish, you have an NGO doing water, you have an NGO doing education, you have an NGO doing forestry and whatever, but at the same time, government also has plans for this. So if you that NGO doing that good work, fine, but let us also put our efforts together so that we avoid duplication and also avoid wastage of resources, because much as this money is for NGOs, this money is for Ugandans. And at one point, Ugandans must account, this money must be accounted for, and Ugandans must know how much money is and what is, and people talk, when they talk, that one said, government has officials who are corrupt, but you realize that NGOs are even more corrupt than the government. So I think the issue of influence peddling is more tricky than we seem to see. But the most important thing is that once we get organized, this influence peddling, both internal and external, will be addressed, because Ugandans will have known who their friends are, who their enemies are, and what they need to do to be able to progress. Well,
Uganda is, of course, not an island. We live in the bigger picture of Africa, and remember, every other time when East Africa is thinking of federating, they always think of President Yoweri Museveni to actually to guide the process. At continental level, the same. So let's look at what makes Uganda really a center of African integration.
But also influence, because you know we have been to countries where we have participated in areas of security, but also even administration, that we have had Ugandans who have gone there to offer services in some of the neighboring countries, and they are doing very well. But that is also a reason to be proud of as Ugandans, unlike the other negative forces that we talked about, but also that President Museveni as a person has also been an icon, has been a product for sale in Uganda.
A brand.
A brand, exactly.
Yes, yes.
And that has also
a brand that has identified himself with the Pan-Africanism,
exactly,
continental integration, and the cause of the African
peace
person.
and security of Africa. So that is also something that we need to be proud of. I know sometimes we tell these people in the opposition that you may not agree with Museveni on some of the things, but you are not going to disagree with the president on everything.
On everything, yes.
Yeah, there must be something.
Much as he's also not going to disagree with their criticism on everything, yes. At least, yes, I think they have a point.
Exactly.
Yes,
so,
yes.
But there must be some commonalities.
That's true.
The most important thing is that
what the mathematicians say, the lowest common multiple.
Exactly.
The LCM.
Yes. So having a functional government is one good thing that we need to be proud of. It may not be doing what you want as a person, but you have a government, because there are countries where there are no government. So I think that is why we ask, be it those in the movement, be it those in the opposition, there must be some LCM somewhere where we can agree. Say from here we can.
Let's look at when, of course, this celebration, in most cases, it turns out to be a yellow celebration, yellow in quotes, that you'll find that actually the opposition not really into such kind of celebration. Yet, actually, this should be one of the days that bring us together as a nation.
But I think that, I don't know, I don't remember which particular function the people in the opposition, the leadership of opposition, have wanted to associate with, but to me it will be wrong. But in fact, even until yesterday, I found out that the invitations were sent out to the people the leadership of opposition. We shall see if they will be coming to Kololo anyway. I hope they do. But you don't need to really, because independence, President Museveni found it there, and will leave it. And some other person will come, will even continue from there. So will you continue boycotting all the time? Of course, there are justifications. They say when we go to independence, Museveni is talking about the movement and the NRM, and they seem not to be politically conscious about the rest. But the most important thing is, look, any government will want to push its agenda, and they will tell you, for this one, for this independence, we have done ABCD. The country have moved ABCD. It's not going to praise you as opposition for the demonstration or for whatever. Of course, you'll be appreciated being there, but still that does not stop you from being a Ugandan. You are only in a party that you prefer to belong to. In a different party. Yes, but you did decide to be a Ugandan, so that we are all conscripted as Ugandans. Because
that is, you made a choice to join a particular party, but you made no choice to become a Ugandan. Just
a few people, those who are a few, who can make choices, then they want to be a Ugandan. But the biggest population of Ugandans are Ugandans because they are Ugandans.
Well, ndugu mtazamaji popote ulipo, in UBC TV, na leo ni maadhimisho ya 59 ya uhuru wa Uganda. Uganda ilipata uhuru tarehe 9 Oktoba mwaka 1962, na tunaona kwamba tangu sikio tumekuwa na rais 9. Rais wa kwanza akiwa Mheshimiwa Kabaka wa Buganda, Edward Mutesa wa pili, akafuatwa na Daktari Milton Obote ambaye alifuatwa na Generali Idi Amin Dada. Baada ya Idi Amin Dada akafuatwa na Profesa Yusuf Lule. Baada ya Profesa Yusuf Lule, Godfrey Binaisa. Alafu kukawa tume ya kijeshi ambayo iliongozwa na Paul Mwanga. Baada ya Paul Mwanga kukana uchaguzi, Daktari Milton Obote pia karudi madarakani, na baada ya Daktari Milton Obote akaingia Generali Tito Okello Lutwa, na mwaka 1986 tarehe 26 Januari Rais Yoweri Museveni akashika hatamu za uongozi hadi wa leo. Kwa hivyo tunazungumzia mafanikio ya miaka 59, tukijumuisha pia na changamoto na labda namna twaweza kusonga mbele, huku tukibadilisha maono yetu, mtazamo wetu wa kitaifa, ili tuweze kupata maendeleo endelevu. Yes, back to James, because these are issues that yes, I will be linking you up to Jagenda. Ndugu Jagenda, karibu sana. Hello. Yes, I'm being joined by Comrade Jagenda from Kololo, who is actually going to give us what is actually happening at Kololo. Yes, as we wait to be joined by Jagenda, of course our technicians are working on that. Yes, Ndugu James Mututa, let's look at, we're still on the issue of mindset change. It is such a complex issue that we need to see how best it can roll down to the people.
Sometimes governments go an extra mile to ensure that their children grow up with a positive mindset.
Hello, we are joined by Jagenda online. Hello, Jagenda.
His Excellency, Mr. We have the...
Well, we are yet to get through to him. Yes, James, you can proceed.
But the bottom line is that the efforts of the families, the efforts of the leaders, because there is a saying that monkey see, monkey do. When we pass on the legacy, when we do things that are likely to compromise our values, then our children also grow up looking at us and behaving worse, or sometimes worse than we are. So the most important thing is that to live a life, an exemplary life, in all our spheres of our life, be it in the civil service, be it in political leadership, even the religious leaders, by the way, because we have also lived to see some of the religious leaders sometimes disappointing those that they lead. So the issue of mindset is very crucial, very critical, but it touches to the real internal fabric of the human survival. And the most important thing is that we need to look at the issue of mindset as a big investment, and that as a community, as a country, as a population, we must do a lot of the necessary investment.
Well, thank you very much. Yes, and we are now getting to Kololo, where Jagenda is going to speak to us to paint a picture for us what is happening at Kololo. Karibu sana ndugu Jagenda.
Ndugu wako na mtuta kwenye studios. Can you hear me very well now? Well, thank you very much. Good morning to all Ugandans and good morning to all our viewers of UBC TV. My name is Jagenda Semakola Ziksoka, just right here at the Independence Grounds in Kololo, where Uganda is celebrating 59 years of our independence. So was a day like this 59 years ago, and here is where we are today on the 9th of October to commemorate and to celebrate our independence at Kololo Independence Grounds, Ndugu Wakol.
Yeah, please. We would like to welcome her, Banange. We are welcoming the Vice President of the Republic of Uganda, Her Excellency Retired Major Jessica Alupo. Banange, the women, we are so happy. I know that even the men are happy. Now they don't want to say. That is, Banange, let us welcome her. Enugu Yachi. Your Excellency, the Vice President, we are so proud to have you as the Vice President of the Republic of Uganda. So, Sebari.
I don't know